Let's talk about Rittenhouse, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this, last night, we were doing the members only show. And like right in the middle, we're like, whoa, what's this story? Jack Posobiec tweets out that the prosecution withheld evidence from the Kyle Rittenhouse defense team. Not true. It's actually not true.
What happened?
They sent manipulated evidence
That's
to the
even
defense
worse.
team. It's even worse. Let me explain how
Holy
bad this
crap.
is. If the prosecution, they say they have a drone footage. Actually, we have this article right here. This is from Andrew Branca. Day 2, defense files for mistrial with prejudice. You can see image from the drone footage. If the prosecution presented the drone footage in court, the defense would have went, whoa, we've never received this evidence, Your Honor.
Bless you.
So the prosecution instead gives them grainy, low-res video. Now, I think it was on Mercator's stream. They played the different videos side by side. And if you pulled it up on the TV and you were given that, the defense had no way of knowing that this was not the video. They're given the video, they play it, they say it's a video, it's drone footage. Makes sense to me. Only when the defense played the video in the jury instructions did the state go, our version is much clearer. Our version is much clearer. Now, a lot of people are like, how dumb are they? Why would they admit it? They had no choice. If the prosecution was attempting to pull a fast one on the defense to make sure they had no way to analyze the video to form a defense, that means they need the jury to see their version of the evidence, which is clearer. When the defense played it, they went, oh, crap. We need the jury to only see our version. And the reason the defense is given the low-res version is so they can't formulate a defense on time. So he had no choice but to say, our version is clearer, let's play that instead. Now, normally I'd say it was an accident. The argument is they texted the video to the defense team, which compressed it. That's insane to do. Now, the defense should have caught that, but it's not their fault. They're told they're going to be given the footage and the video, and they believe it to be true and correct. But I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. They've committed constitutional violations. They've ignored rulings from the judge. The judge says he's going to hold this in his back pocket until a verdict, but he very well may come back out and say, mistrial with prejudice, Rittenhouse is free to go.
Wait, can I ask Mike a question? Because you're an attorney. Let's suppose they forgot, right? Like there was a video file and it's in a drawer and it's like, oops, I forgot, I have it now, and I'm a prosecutor in good faith, and the jury's already deliberating. What can I do at that point as a prosecutor who would be acting in good faith?
Yeah, that would. So they call those Brady violations. Brady is information that could go to guilt or innocence or deal with information at sentencing. So in other words, it shows you as maybe a better person, a more innocent person than you thought. So if it's a good faith error on something like that, you could get a mistrial without prejudice and retry it. That would be the remedy if you wanted it. The defense, I don't know if they would, depending on how the case you're making a guess, right? The defense lawyer would say, hey, I think we're going to win anyway and not take it.
I have a correction.
Yeah.
At 2:45 p.m., the defense made a verbal motion for a mistrial without prejudice.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Very wow. Prosecution makes laundry list of excuses over the state not providing defense with high-resolution drone video. Judge warns prosecution. He'd warned them there would be a day of reckoning over this drone video, and then says he's not going to make a decision now, inclined to see what the verdict is going to be. On the 15th, the defense filed a motion for a mistrial with prejudice, which means they cannot bring the charges back. But it seems like the defense is so upset over the cheating that they're like, just do a mistrial. We will do this over.
Why would they want to do? Would they do it over? Would they have the same prosecutor?
Yeah, it would be the same prosecutor, but you know their whole case now. You have their witnesses on the record, so they can't change their story. They can't be impeached. You have all this, and then there's that guy who his criminal record has all come out now. Maybe
Right.
you didn't have that. The DUI against him being dismissed, maybe that comes in. So there's a lot of things that you're going to try to bring in a do-over, and all anybody can do is guess, right? And I think that the defense is squeamish now because usually a longer deliberations means guilty.
Oh, okay.
Because people don't want to come back quick from jury and convict, right? Because then it looks like you're just a bad person. Like, oh, yeah, we heard the evidence, 30 minutes guilty, boom. You take longer, but if it's not guilty, you come back right away. Now, the Rittenhouse, there's all this speculation that there's a couple of holdouts, they're left-wing activists, and that it's going to be hung by 2 left-wing activists. Nobody knows, though. It's all a complete and total guess as to...
Do they need just a majority to quit, or does it has to be unanimous either way?
It has to be unanimous either way.
Oh,
in a
so
criminal
if
trial.
it's split, it's a mistrial.
Mistrial, and then
Wow.
they go back and try it again.
Okay.
Will Chamberlain had some interesting comments about this. He said earlier that, quote, pretty clear that Rittenhouse lawyers are getting jittery. Moving for a mistrial without prejudice indicates a serious worry that a guilty verdict is coming back and that they want to get in front of it. So that could be a possibility here as well.
I don't think guilty. So here's the way you would game it out if you were, if you're white born again. You would say, okay, if it already looks like the jury's going to be hung, right? We don't know if it's going to be hung because it was 10 to guilty and 2 not guilty, or if it was 10 not guilty, 2 holdouts, they're going to hang it. But you're thinking it's already going to hang, so then why would you even take a choice that it might be hanging because it's going to be guilty, or that they're going to convince those 2 other jurors to change their vote to being guilty? So you're thinking the odds would just say, let's just do a redo, and we have all this information now that we can use.
But they still filed a motion for mistrial with prejudice and a verbal motion for mistrial. Are both motions available to the judge?
Well, one would supersede. The judge can do whatever he wants. So the initial reason they filed it, the motion with prejudice, so there was that set of questions where the prosecutor had said, this is your first time talking since August 25th, 2020. Now this is black letter law, that you cannot make a comment about a person exercising his or her Miranda rights.
What does black letter law mean?
Oh, it means it's not really up for debate.
Okay.
It just is. If you take the bar exam and you read that transcript, there's actually a right answer. Now, the prosecutor tried to say, well, I wasn't commenting on his silence. I was just saying that because he was able to watch the whole trial, he could key up his story, and you technically can make that argument, but you can't say this is the first time you've talked. You can skip that line and say, hey, isn't it true, Tim, that you've been sitting here for this whole trial? And you go, yes. Well, isn't it true that you've watched every witness testify? And you say, yes. And you go, so isn't it true then that you know exactly what you have to say in order to get the outcome you want? You can do that, but I can't.
No.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
The answer is no.
Yeah, you would say no, I'm here to tell the truth, and there's all this back and forth. But the idea, too, and the prosecutor is not very competent, Binger is not competent at all, is when you're cross-examining, you just give a person a yes or no answer. You don't let him elaborate. Like, that. There's so many just basic tactical blunders that he made, but that would be the idea, because then you would say, isn't it true that you could come up with any story you want? And you would say, no, I'm here to tell the truth. And then it doesn't matter, because you're just imposing your narrative on the witness in cross-examination, which is the way it's supposed to be. You don't get to tell your narrative on cross-examination. The inquisitor gets to, and everything has to be a leading question, yes or no. Just keep it yes or no. Isn't that true? So fortunately, Binger is incompetent, unethical, and I tweeted out even quoting Michael Malice that to be black-pilled is to think that Binger is going to beat us, right?
Yeah, like that these are unstoppable foes.
Yeah, they're evil.
Yeah, but so the jury's deliberating.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they know people outside are screaming on megaphones?
Of course, the jury should have been sequestered.
They're not sequestered?
Do you know that someone...
Are you serious?
And
I know. I didn't believe it myself.
Someone filmed the jury from their bus pickup, and the judge went, well, we'll just make sure that doesn't happen again when we deleted the footage. And it's like, what?
Yeah, no, and then...
The jury's got to be sweating bullets.
Right. And there's no... Merrick Garland's not going to issue a memo saying that we need to go after people who are trying to tamper with the jury, even though that's how they get the mob for jury tampering. It's literally jury tampering happening here, and they're getting away with it. So they're definitely evil, but they're also dumb, and that's what. So that if you're looking at this from a big strategic perspective, right, and that's what makes them dangerous is they don't have any morality. Right. That much we know. But they're dumb, and they haven't been through a crucible. I don't know if you saw Adam Schiff cry on The View over a couple questions, and I'm thinking they can't stand any kind of media scrutiny, so they are weak.
Can you explain something else to me? Because I always try to steel man, if something I don't understand, I'm thinking it's me. How would anyone as a prosecutor tell the jury and the audience that who hasn't taken a beating at one point in their life? That seems like such a bizarre statement to make. He
said that?
Yeah. What am I missing?
People make bad arguments.
Oh, okay. Is it what it looks like? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to address what you were saying. Look, zombies have no morality, and zombies are stupid. But when you get a whole lot of them, you're in trouble. At least figuratively, because no one's ever actually been attacked by zombies. But you get the point.
No, that was strategically is they outnumber us. They're evil and they're dumb. But that's how you have to war game it out.
Yeah.
But the problem with, conservatives or whatever the case is, the people who are supposed to counteract it, is they constantly refuse to accept that you're dealing with the evil. This isn't. They're not wrong. They're not making mistakes. They're evil.
Right.
They want to like destroy people's lives. I was
just on Rogan's show, and I don't think it comes out today. It comes out tomorrow, whatever. But I said Chris Cuomo is evil, and Joe was like, "No, man." Right. He's like, "He's not evil. Like these guys are just doing production and they're not paying attention." And I said, "It's the banality of evil." Chris Cuomo pretended to be in quarantine to trick people into thinking he was locked down when he wasn't, when he was going to his private property and got into a fight with some guy or verbal altercation. And I said, it's evil to willfully deceive the people.
Yeah, it's lying. It's called lying.
But it's more than lying. We're talking about people whose lives are being destroyed by this, and he's acting as an agent to make sure they don't resist as their businesses, their homes, their families, and everything's destroyed. And I'm like, it's evil, man.
It's tough because this cell phone was built by slaves, and I know that, but I still bought it and I still use it. Am I evil?
Yes.
Thank you, Michael. The honest truth.
That's not why.
But
I know that.
But isn't it still the banality of evil? That we knew that the Foxconn labs were so horrifying, people were committing mass suicide, and we were like, but we accept this because we want it. Isn't that the banality that we would just go along with these horrifying systems?
And the banality of evil is more the idea that evil doesn't come in the form that you think it isn't. Charles Manson, it was based on Hannah Arendt's book, where she would examine these Nazis, and they're more like, hey, I just want to like keep my job, and I need to get X number of Jews.
Saying.
Yeah, but
hey, look, the phone, I need it for work, and I understand slaves are...
But Cuomo's willfully evil.
Right.
Banality of evil would imply that he's just like, hey, I'm going to get vaccinated for my job, and I'm going to have and I'm going to show my vaccination pass to people, and I'm just going to kind of cooperate because this is what I have to do.
Right. Ian actually had, I think, one of the best responses, because we were talking about whether or not the NPCs, the zombie hordes, are truly evil. And so I asked Ian, I was like, Ian, are zombies evil? And he immediately was like...
well, in D&D, yes, they are chaotic evil, but
they're not. They don't have an alignment anymore, Ian.
They made them neutral.
Yeah, they're not neutral. They don't have an alignment.
Whoa.
What is happening?
You ruined the funny
Topsy-turvy.
Do your homework,
Well, the
Ian
zombie
Cross.
lord is evil. I know that.
Well, the zombie lord has sentience, Ian.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
guys.
The Lich King.
I want to talk to you about evil. I want to talk to all of you about the Rittenhouse trial and what we can see as reasonable, mature adults evil. Did you know that Gage Grosskreutz in January 2021 had a drunk driving offense? And the prosecutor said, we'll make that go bye-bye 6 days before the Rittenhouse trial? Let me show you here from New York Post. Sole survivor has criminal past, they say. Grosskreutz, 28, was in court just 6 days before Rittenhouse's murder trial, where he was a star witness to have a recent drunk driving charge dismissed on a technicality. I wonder...
So weird.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit when Rogan came on. I kind of went off and talked about all of his criminal charges. The Daily Mail called him a career criminal, but this wasn't his first DUI. This was his second DUI. Now, I don't know anyone who had a DUI, had a second one, and was able to get off of it when the consequences are so serious. When you have a second DUI, I mean, we could look up exactly the ramifications of it, but the first DUI, in some states, they take away your car, they take away your license, and you face a very long jail term because of that. A second one on a long criminal record of domestic abuse, prowling, trespass, felony burglary, 2 counts of carrying firearms while intoxicated on top of these 2 DUIs. I mean, we're talking about someone who's definitely not a upstanding citizen, but yet he's treated like some kind of celebrity on Good Morning America, which he had his first interview on, and I think the nerds want to nerd out about something.
Yeah, we're getting to the important stuff right
now. I love this show.
Yeah,
you are fact-checked, Michael Malice.
All right, something happened.
We were just talking about how these people are NPCs, they're zombies, and the question is, are zombies evil?
As of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, yes, they are neutral evil.
Meaning
they don't tend towards law or chaos. They're kind of in the middle.
Evil.
But they're definitely evil.
Okay, so for context,
they're not good.
Yeah.
For context, for people who don't understand, we're just making an analogy to, you have all of these people who will vote Democrat, who will go along with lockdowns and mandates and restrictions on civil liberties. They'll go along with the Rittenhouse prosecutor presenting false evidence, and they will just say, I don't care what happened, I'm on their side no matter what. We call them zombies. And then the question was, but is that evil or is that just being a zombie? Ian told us last week that in D&D, zombies are evil, but Michael contested this, and you have been fact-checked, sir. So, zombies are evil.
I also think there's a difference between NPCs and zombies, though.
I think so, too.
Yeah?
Because zombies are actually actively hunting.
NPCs are just.
And this
following.
suggests that they're neutral evil suggests that they will betray the law at any moment for their own self-serving purposes, and they'll also side with the law at any moment for their own self-serving
Well,
purposes.
I think
That's
they're
interesting.
lemmings.
Zombies
though.
are mindless. Yeah, zombies don't have an opinion on the law.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can get. What is evil? Does evil require intent? Does it require outcome? What if you're in good nature? And that's why I don't use. And I really used to not use it, but my rhetoric has probably gotten a little more fiery over the years. Is I very rarely say someone's evil. Almost never.
I used to
Yeah.
be the exact same way.
Yeah.
And I'd be very philosophical, like a lot of these people are just not paying attention. But when we get to the point where Binger, the prosecutor, introduces fake evidence, CGI evidence, commits constitutional violations, defies the rulings, the problem is the judge let him get away with it. Evil is rewarded.
Well, I don't think that I agree with Mike, but I think NPCs aren't evil per se, but the ones who are running the show are the evil ones.
Right. The Chris Cuomo's evil.
Yeah, that's
Don,
what I'm saying.
Don Lemon's evil. The lemmings who watch CNN,
Yeah.
they're just lemmings.
Yeah.
They would fall off a cliff. They would literally, if Chris Cuomo told people to do anything, they would fall off a cliff to their own detriment.
And if they were
So-
born in Idaho, they'd be watching Fox and they'd be NPCs in that
Right,
capacity.
exactly. So they're just following whatever they're told to do. So they're not evil. They're just mindless people who would go off a cliff again if they had to, which is different. But Binger's evil, without question, because the people who are trying to lynch a 17-year-old are evil. The pedophile who got shot was
Yes.
was evil. Like pedophilia, like I put that on the evil list.
Yeah.
And this guy, I mean, it was the most atrocious. I want to not get into the specifics because it's so atrocious.
Pretty bad.
I don't think people want to hear what he did to these children.
Right, he
but
didn't just. It wasn't like he was watching pornography. He
No,
actually
no.
assaulted a child,
Yes.
more than
No,
one child.
I think
that's
assault,
a big difference.
assault is not strong enough.
Well, we
but
can't say what
We
you know.
can't say what he
atrocity.
did.
Yeah,
He
yes.
committed atrocities against children.
An abomination.
5 of
Like-
them, 11 counts, ages 9 to 11. Those
And there's
details
no,
matter.
and there's no. The only reason he's allowed on the street is because of our legal system, which is flawed. If someone does that to a child, this person should never be allowed to see the outside of a cell.
Children.
I'm kind of with you
Yes.
about. I'm reticent to call people good and evil because the way, especially with the way D&D works, it's a scale from like. Yeah, let me reference the Bible real quick. You have a rating from 1 to 100. Evil being 1, good being 100, and you're somewhere on that scale, 78, say. Every act you do, maybe it's an evil act, might drop that from a 78 to a 74, and then you might do a good act to atone, and then you might do something horrible, like kill someone, and it drops to a 5, and all of a sudden. But that doesn't
Like
mean
Alec Baldwin.
it's not static.
Yeah, interesting.
It does. So you're not.
Right.
You might be able to. They say right now what you've done, we think you're evil, but that doesn't mean you're not capable of good.
Sure, I believe in God and redemption, and I think that I believe in original
Well,
sin.
but-
So I think we all have
But-
evil in us.
So let me ask you this question, though, Ian. If Reza Aslan of CNN eats human brain, is he a cannibal?
I don't. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
If you played tennis in your 20s, but you no longer play, are you still a tennis player?
Well, hold on. But we're talking about very serious actions. I understand people like... I would actually argue, if you played tennis, like, you're a tennis player. But cannibalism is something very specific. Reza Aslan of CNN on TV ate human brain.
That's a
Is it
moral-
fair to
How
call
did he get it though?
It was given to him by this fringe sect of like Hindu monks or whatever.
But how could a human brain have anything to do with CNN? That makes no sense.
CNN
There you
did a
go.
show
That's good.
about
That
religions.
was a joke, Tim.
Oh,
Come on,
right.
Tim. Come
I
on, Tim.
like it.
but hold on. Has anyone addressed the question? Is Reza Aslan a cannibal,
Yes.
even
Yes.
though he's not eating humans
Well,
now?
the idea, and that goes to
That's a good question.
are you defined by your worst moment, right? And again, that's why I don't like to use evil, because if you're a lawyer, you've thought about this. If you've defended people charged with terrible things, you think, are you defined by your worst moment? And that's a question that everybody has to wrestle with. This philosophical one. So can you never not? There's even that joke that the guy said he fornicated with the goat once, and now for the rest of the life he's a goat fornicator. And my belief, generally speaking, is that there's a redemption period that
I disagree.
almost everything.
Well, if you
no, hold on. I disagree.
okay,
Rosenbaum.
10 years, 20 years from now.
It's been 15 years. It had been 15 years since those actions he committed. Sorry.
Is that the one who assaulted kids?
Yes.
You don't come back from that.
You don't
No,
come
you
back.
don't,
But
yeah.
do you come back from eating human?
Yes, because he didn't kill the human.
He didn't kill a person.
All right.
what if you
Fair.
murder someone? Are you a murderer?
Yes.
Yes.
Forever.
Yes, in my opinion. If
Different
it's
way.
murder, I don't mean like drunk driving.
Then why not a cannibal? Like, see, this is an important
I don't think
question.
cannibalism is that bad in this context.
But what I'm saying is, what we're basically saying is based on our personal views of morality, we're willing to give someone redemption and not call them a name by their worst moment. If someone murders someone, they're always a murderer. Alec Baldwin is always a murderer, but Reza Aslan's no longer a cannibal.
I don't think eating human brain is a problem.
Like I said, with stuff that happens with kids is a little different. Yeah. I don't like to reduce people to their lowest moment.
Okay.
Right? That, generally speaking, that's not how I view humanity, because my fundamental view is that we're all whatever's in our hearts and minds. If that were published to the world, what would that look like? Oof. Right? And then you would say, well, that's the evil thought. That's different. The actions are different. And there's a whole sliding scale for this. But my view, generally speaking, is that you don't define a person by their worst moment, with the exception, again, with, if you're a serial child molester, that's a little bit different than a guy who loaded up maybe a video or something that he shouldn't have. There could be a period of redemption after that.
But in the friendliest way, I want to make sure we stress that he was beyond it. Rosenbaum was committing atrocities against children.
The worst possible.
The worst possible thing you could imagine being done to a child that they would have to live with for the rest of their lives.
I would also say don't define people by their best moment.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, like Alec Baldwin's done a lot of great work as an actor, but if he does some horrible crime, I don't want to be like, well, he's a good guy, so let's let him go.
That's why I don't call
the bad moment is and how good the good moment is, right? If someone's like a firefighter and then he gets into a bar fight and beats somebody up, I'm willing to let that slide if he's safe.
I don't care about a bar fight anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think there's a sliding scale too, because are we talking about someone like Henry Kissinger, Jeffrey Epstein, because they're in a different realm of evil, comparatively to, of course, low-level criminals, petty criminals, arsonists. There's a big difference.
That's a good way. If you think of every action in your life as weighting the scale of 1 to 100, if you've done a million things that have given you 100, and then you do one thing that gives you a 1, it's barely going to move the needle to 99.9.
Like Henry Kissinger is Satan. He is absolutely evil.
He's not great.
At least Linda.
Come on, Linda.
Come on now.
Linda, honey, listen, honey, Linda.
Trying to listen. Sorry,
Stop
Luke,
it
go
there.
on.
Stay
Listen,
in
honey,
the
Stay in
Linda.
the kitchen. Yeah,
Do you like his ideas on limited war? I don't want to derail, but
I mean, what Kissinger has done throughout his entire career, propping up China and the communist state there, de-industrializing the United States, bringing jobs over there, putting the current geopolitical situation, setting up Saudi Arabia with the petrodollar. I mean, the way that the world is right now, how broken it is, can be directly correlated to Henry Kissinger. The man advises the Pope. He advised presidents. He advises corporations. He advised Obama. Obama's national security advisor said he takes his daily orders from Henry Kissinger, and Obama has a lot of influence in the Biden administration. So I would say he's still in charge. He sat down with Donald Trump. Donald Trump was licking his boots.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.